Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. First thing you'll notice is that it's only been a week since I posted my last video. Now there's a reason for that. The reason is quite simple. I'm looking to grow the channel. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. And one of the ways I thought I might do that, or might be able to do that, is to produce it more regularly. Every week, YouTube's algorithms will pick up on that. And if they see that you're serious in your approach, then they might put me out there in front of more people, and that technically should grow the channel. But for me to do that and to fit it in with all the other amount of work that I have, which is external to this YouTube channel, I've had to cut back, shall we say, on the time that I spend on the videos. Now, this doesn't mean I'm going to be producing any less content. It just means the content I produce will be more selective, shall we say. It's still going to be about the Diary of a Cartoonist, about what I'm up to, the kind of projects I'm doing. And I'm still going to be giving you the information that you have become accustomed to, the tricks of the trade, shall we say. But the subject matter I pick will be of a shorter version. So rather than me producing the, what should we say, the 30-minute, 45, 1 hour long videos, which I think may be a little too long for your average YouTube viewer, I'm going to be bringing them in around about 15, 20 minutes. So they're shorter, and we're going to see how that works. It could even be a little shorter than that, but generally it'll be between 15 and 20 minutes. And we're going to see how that goes. So I still will be giving you the information that you like, but I'll be producing shorter stuff. Like today's a classic example. I'm going to be talking about action, and I'm going to show you how action can be portrayed by watching a chef cut a carrot. A simple action, but how do you portray that, not just with the action lines, but with everything else around it? That'll become apparent when I do the picture. But it's just one picture, but a lot of information. So yeah, great. Hopefully that'll work. If you like that kind of content, then please like and subscribe and share it. Hit the notification bell, so every time I produce a video, YouTube will let you know. There are people out there who watch the videos and don't like and subscribe. It's a very little thing for you to do, but it's very, very big for the channel. So if you could just like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and that'd be fantastic. Right, on with today's video. It's the chef cutting up a carrot. Okay, here we go. Right, the first bit here I noticed in last week's video where I did the pencil work, and you couldn't really see what was going on there. It really kind of frustrated me. Now, in this particular drawing, I'm not going to be inking with a brush, which is what I used to do. I'm going to be showing you some pencil techniques. So this first bit is just me doing the light outer edges of what I need to do. Then I'm going in with, I think it's a 4B pencil, which really picks out the detail. And I'll get more onto why I'm doing that later on. But for now, I'll just sort of gently speed this little bit up and give you a bit of music, and then I will see you when we're ready to go in with the heavier pencil. Right, see you in a few minutes. Right, we're back. Did you enjoy that music? I did. I quite liked it. Without realising it was very, very Italian, which is very, very apt for this particular drawing, because if you're going to draw a chef, he has to, it's a bit French, but Italiano. It's just, that's the way it works. So why am I inking it, or sorry, finishing it off, should we say, in pencil rather than brush or pen. Well, the fact is that I've really shown you loads and loads and loads of ways that you can finish a cartoon off with a dip pen or a brush. But another way of working in art, any kind of art, is with the pencil. A most notable case of that would be, I think it was Andy Kubert, one of the comic book royalty family, anyway, Joe Kubert's sons. And he did a graphic novel called, I think it was Yosel, and it was literally about the Holocaust. And he did the whole thing in pencil. And it can give you a very, very nice effect if used properly, and you can do a lot of shading with it. This particular drawing, I am just doing it with just normal outlines. I'm not going to shade any of it. It'd be a little bit too much hassle, should we say. This is all about showing you action, or rather how things around the image react to the action, therefore giving the actual act of the action more action. Did you get all that? If you did, please explain it to me, because I'm absolutely lost already. And you'll also notice that I've changed the moustache already. This can be done because the sketching was done so lightly it wouldn't be noticed. He had it like a kind of what they call, I think they called comb moustaches, didn't they? And then I changed it into this Luigi type moustache, and that suited him. And I also changed the eyes from just little dots to those happy little closed eyes. So yeah, that was another section that I did. And actually, that's another point that I'd like to bring up. I changed his eyes, not because I thought, I thought they'd look nicer if they were like that. I did it for a reason. Everything I do within my artwork and everything that you do within your artwork should be for a reason. I mean, yeah, I could have just drawn him standing there, sitting there, happily chopping away at a carrot. But this is, we'll call him Luigi because I called him Luigi a bit further on. Luigi is happy in his work. He's a good chef. He knows how to do those carrots. He's in his prep stage and he's thoroughly enjoying it. So having those little smiling eyes added to the effect of the picture. It's only a small thing, but it's very subliminal, if you like. But when the person looks at the picture, they don't necessarily think, oh, he's got little happy eyes. They just take it in and it gives them an overall impression. So it's not just, as I said, someone standing there chopping away at some carrots. It's someone who's happy chopping away at some carrots. Right, back to the drawing. Oh, and by the way, when I disappear off to do a little piece to camera, you're not going to be missing any of the artwork. I'm just going to pause it all and wait till you come back, and then we'll get back on with the drawing. It's also worth noting, I mentioned about the eyes there, making it, to sort of give you the impression of the happiness. It's also important here where he's got his little neck scarf or neck kerchief or whatever it is. I don't think you see that many chefs wearing them anymore. But in stereotypes, and let's face it, cartoonists work in stereotypes, it's worth remembering these things because people then look at it and think, chef. And it's, once again, like with the little happy eyes, it's a subliminal thing. It's not something you're sort of being led by the hand. You're just looking at it and thinking, yeah, that's a chef. I recognize it as a chef. Okay, we're coming on to the first bit of action, or rather, first important bit of the action, which is the chopping motion of the knife. And this is the bit where I like to say that my art may differ from maybe some other artists, not all artists, but some other artists, is that I don't necessarily just use the action, like the sweeping action there of the knife blade. I don't use that to depict the movement and leave it just at that. To me, the art of movement, or portraying the art of movement in cartoons, is portraying the kinetic energy. I think that's the correct term. Basically, the reaction to the knife hitting the board on everything else around him. Okay, let me explain that a little bit more. You notice first of all there that I had the lines coming off the knife. I didn't just randomly put there. If you look at it, all those lines, if you were doing that in animation, that knife, that would be the actual trajectory of the knife. So when you think about putting those lines up there, imagine where that knife would be when it's going up an inch, 2 inches higher, 3 inches higher, 4 inches higher, and then the same when it comes down. Also, notice the carrots, the carrot that I'm drawing. What I did with the carrot is I imagined it being cut and I moved it in the trajectory that, say, a singular slice of carrot would go. It would go up in the air, it would come down, hit the cutting board, and then bounce off again. So rather than having one piece doing that, I've imagined it by using all the pieces just following the natural movement and trajectory of the carrot slices, and that then gives the impression of movement. So once again, it's not the chopping action that's causing the movement, it's everything else around it that's giving the impression of movement. And the carrots were just one thing. But now that I've virtually finished drawing all the carrot pieces, you can actually see what I mean. It goes up, down, and I've actually drawn some shadow underneath the one that's connecting with the board, so you know it's connected. And I've also, rather than leave it round like the other slices of carrot, I've actually squashed it at the bottom. Now that's a technique called squash and stretch. It's what animators do. So if you've got a bouncing ball, the ball doesn't just hit the ground and bounce off. When it hits the ground, it flattens ever so slightly. And it gives the impression, although the ball doesn't actually do that in real life, although it probably does if you slowed it right down, you could see that a part of it does actually go flat. I've exaggerated it somewhat in the cartoon, but once again, it's a subliminal thing, just like the closed eyes and the chef's scarf, should we say. It all leads the viewer or tricks the viewer's mind into seeing something that probably isn't there. Now, I've also given the impact marks as well. So with the knife going up and down, the impact marks, and the carrots following the natural trajectory of the pieces, you've now got, just if you left it there, a good piece of action. But I'm not going to leave it just there. We're going to move on to the next stage now. Actually, before we go on to the next stage, it's also worth noting that with the carrot slices I've got there, if you look at them carefully, you'll notice that they actually get smaller as they get towards the end, just like the carrot does, because a carrot tapers off. It's one more little thing that gives the cartoon a bit of authenticity. Right, the next stage. You'll notice here that I've drawn the bowl with just a few carrots in. Now, I could just leave the carrots just poking out, but you'll also notice if once the Egypt gets his hand out of the way, you'll notice the carrots are at different heights to each other. So, because the bowl has actually come off the ground. With the impact of the knife, the bowl has come off the ground. And so the carrots inside, not all carrots are the same shape and size, so some are heavier than others, and so the lighter ones would be further up in the air than, say, the heavier ones. And another way of proving the bowl's in the air is just to put that little bit of shadow underneath it. Right, now, kinetic energy, its importance, that I think that's the right term. I could have the wrong word completely, I'm sure it's right. Basically, it's the flow of movement caused through impact. I think that's kinetic energy. So I'll show you what I mean. I have here on my hand a simple pencil. Now I could just flick my fingers like so and the pencil would go up in the air. But kinetic energy enables me to make that pencil jump in the air without actually moving my fingers. Now I'll do it, I'll show you now so you can see exactly what I mean. When I hit that part of the hand there, which is away from the pencil should jump. So we'll do it now. We go There you go, it moved. So it's the same thing with a cartoon. Something hits the ground, boom, or hits a chopping board, then things around it move around. And because it's a cartoon, you do it with more exaggeration. Right, back to the cartoon. Okay, so now that that's explained, so you've got the kinetic energy making everything move around it. You've got the lines coming directly from the knife, the actual trajectory that it would show if it was animated or real life. You've got the carrots doing what they're doing, the little dance that they're doing off the board. So you've got everything there that you need to show movement and action. But why are you doing that? I hear you ask. Why are you going to so much hassle just to portray a little bit of movement when just a few action lines? And it's fine. Every other cartoonist does that, and it portrays the action, and yeah, I guess it kind of does. But I think that for a long, long time, action was always my thing. I've always loved action, movements. I remember watching Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam, or Yosemite Sam, or however it's pronounced. And Yosemite Sam was chasing Bugs Bunny in a Roman chariot. Bugs Bunny was running in a chariot, and all of us, I don't know what happened, I can't remember what happened, but Yosemite Sam, he was doing his sort of like, whoa, muley, and all that sort of stuff, and the horse stopped, and the chariot stopped, and he was being dragged along, and all of a sudden he went into the chariot and hit it. Now, normally that would have been fine, just bonk, you got the sound effect, you know that he's gone smashed into the back of it. But what the animator did was when Yosemite Sam went into the chariot, there was a clunking sound, then the armour that he was wearing shot up in the air without him in it, and it dropped back down again, and he came up with the helmet half on, half off his head, slightly the wrong way around. And it just made the whole thing funny. I mean, it would have been funny if he just went clonk into the back of it, but just that little bit extra, going that little extra mile, made the world of difference. And I guess that's what I kind of want to do. I want to try and make that little bit of difference. Now, whilst I was waffling on about Yosemite Sam, I don't even notice there that I did the saucepan. Now that's going to be leaping off in the air. I didn't realise till I finished the picture, I forgot to put a little bit of shadow underneath it to show it was in the air. But trust me, it will be there. But it also showed the water jumping up, and that also adds to it. So that's a little bit more of the kinetic energy. So you have the knife, the carrots, the bowls, the kinetic energy involved in that. And then finally, you come to the lettering. Now, you could just go chop, 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 and that's what they're doing. But we're trying to go that extra mile here. We're trying to give it a little bit more. And if you think about the act of chopping, whether it be a carrot or a piece of lettuce or anything like that, the chef would line it up with a chop, chop, and then he'd start to go faster. So it's chop, chop, chopper, 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 chop, 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 slowing down at the end. So let's do that. Chop, chop, chopper, 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 chop. And it all adds to the finished product, which is all out action. You made the extra effort, you feel better, and your viewer will hopefully enjoy it all the more. Right, I guess that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It was quite heavy with all the instructions. And I hope that you'll enjoy it and want to come back all the more. And if this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and keep coming back for more. So all that's left for me to do now is to say thank you very much for your time, and I will see you next week. And until then, bye-bye for now.